Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to um, another live stream. I'm your host, Goldie Gamari. So normally in the evenings, we will watch a documentary, and myself and Iranians, in the live, will comment on it. So first of all, I want to give a big shout out to our mods and our members, and of course everyone who's joined us for the live stream. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So normally I would play a documentary and we would talk about it, and we actually do have one that we're sort of halfway through, which we're at, like, about a 9 out of 10 for that one. But there is a lot happening in occupied Iran right now. Excuse me. I've been talking all day, guys. I actually just finished a live space on X as well prior to this. So um there is a lot that's happening in occupied Iran right now. If you know where to look and if you are able to properly identify the signs. Now, 2CTV just broadcast a news segment about this. So I haven't watched it yet. So I thought maybe we can watch this news segment together, and then afterwards I will give my thoughts, and well, even maybe during the segment as we're going through, but I will give you my thoughts and opinions on what is happening, and also which accounts you should be monitoring on X. So first of all, if you're only on YouTube, you definitely want to follow, 2CTV. Of course, if you're watching this, you're probably already following me. But if you don't have X, you want to follow 2CTV for sure, in order to get sort of breaking, live, accurate news coming out of Iran. Because if things are going the way that we think they might be going, the world is about to be bombarded with probably the biggest disinformation and misinformation campaign coming out of Iran since the Islamic Republic took over in 1979 by convincing the world that, the Shah was an authoritarian dictator and all that nonsense, right? Um, so keep an eye out for that. If the news cycle starts getting really, really crazy, we'll know that something is up. But having said that, why don't we watch this live news coverage from 2CTV, because I'm very interested in seeing what he has to say. For those of you guys who might not know, Mahir Tusi, he's Iranian as well. And, he is one of the very few people who provides reliable and accurate English language news about, things coming out of Iran. So he always has very, very good takes on Iran. All right, so we can move this up a little bit. You don't want to wade through. Oh, there we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2CTV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C, and this is your latest news update coming from Iran. Things are not going too well for the Islamic occupiers of the country. We've seen.
I love that he also calls it the Islamic occupiers, right? That's the thing. We Iranians, we know we're under an Islamic occupation. We call it the Islamic occupation, and yet all these non-Iranians refer to it as the Iranian regime. Like, there's nothing Iranian about them, right? But if you guys actually listen to credible voices like myself or even Mahi or Tusi, pay attention to the language that we use, because the language is what allows people to understand the context of what's happening here, right? So it's not the Iranian regime, it's the Islamic dictatorship, the Islamic occupiers, right? Because we have Iran, and then we have the Islamic dictatorship, which is occupying Iran.
Absolute scenes in the capital and in other cities as
I'll go
well.
back. I'll go back a little bit. We'll just begin that. But yeah, I just, language is important, and I'm really happy that he used the proper terminology, right?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C, and this is your latest news update coming from Iran. Things are not going too well for the Islamic occupiers of the country. We've seen absolute scenes in the capital and in other cities as well. There's a lot to cover as the Iranian military officials, who have some of them already defected over the last few months to the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi's side. But now they are doing it out in public because they've got nothing to lose, and the fight begins this week. So, do you hear the people sing? Yes, it's happening. Singing the liberation, which is now reaching the major cities. And of course, the legacy media across the Western world is not talking about any of this. But we have a number of videos to show you guys. Today is also a crucial day for another occupation. This is the media occupation of the United Kingdom by the BBC, because over the next few hours, we're going to find out whether President Trump is going to be taking the BBC to court or
Wow.
not. For now, we are still celebrating this. We only have a few hours left. Final deadline for our limited offer, 50% off annual memberships of 2CTV Plus if you use the promo code RIPBBC. Just go on 2C.tv or
That's
find the
really
link
funny.
in the description. Join on the website, then download the app and use your login details. RIPBBC. Let's begin the report. Okay, Iranian Air Force Colonel Ebrahim.
Guys, the one thing I want to point out here, so if you look at the symbol in front of the podium, that is the symbol of the constitutional monarchy. Like this, like that's basically the symbol of the king, right? King Reza Pahlavi. Um, like that symbolizes the Pahlavi family, the Pahlavi dynasty, the monarchy, basically, right? That's the seal of the monarchy, and you can even see, so the between the two lions, you see the red crown. That is the crown of the king of Iran, or as we say, the Shah of Iran. So this is very important context here, right? The fact that this army general who is about to defect, okay, he's about to publicly defect. He is in occupied Iran. Sorry, not a general. I shouldn't say general. This army person, I don't know his rank. Um, he's a colonel. Sorry, he's an Air Force colonel. So this Air Force colonel in occupied Iran is putting out this video with his name, with his face. He's not hiding it. But guys, more importantly, this is what the media won't tell you. Okay, yeah, Aryan, you're absolutely right. So that's the coat of arms of the Iranian constitutional monarchy. So by having that coat of arms in front of him, he is declaring not only that he has defected from the Islamic dictatorship, the Islamic regime that is occupying us, but more importantly, he is pledging allegiance to the Shah of Iran, who is currently in exile, His Royal Highness King Reza Pahlavi. So that symbol there, people, that is very important. Like when Iranians like me and others, when we tell you that people in Iran overwhelmingly support the Shah, overwhelmingly support the constitutional monarchy, and they want the return of the constitutional monarchy. We're not exaggerating, right? Because this is coming out of occupied Iran. That is the how did he say? That is the coat of arms of the Iranian constitutional monarchy. And again, you see that red crown at the top of the crest between the two lions. That is the crown of the Shah of Iran. So symbolism and imagery is incredibly important.
Ibrahim Aghai Kamazani, I think, yeah, Kamazani,
All right.
has
Let
now
me go back here. So now that I've explained the
in
podium,
the report. Okay. Iranian Air Force Colonel Ibrahim Aghai Kamazani, I think, yeah, Kamazani, has now defected publicly in a viral.
someone is asking, is this a good or bad thing? Guys, this is a good thing. This is what we want. We so I've spoken about this before, but I'll say it again very briefly. The country is occupied by a totalitarian Islamic dictatorship, okay? The only way that totalitarian dictatorships have been overthrown in the past is through military coups d'etats. So, since the summer, there has been an ongoing campaign for people in Iran, whether they're with the police force, whether they're with the military, whether they're with the Islamic Republic themselves. Um, they have been given an opportunity to safely defect, and I will go over that. I will go over how they have been defecting, but this has been going on for quite a while, and it seems, guys, it seems like something has happened. Okay, something is going on in Iran, right? Legacy media is not reporting on this. Mainstream media is not reporting on this, but these images and videos um, have been coming out in the last few days, and they are going viral. Again, we have never ever seen anything like this coming out of occupied Iran, right? Where you have a soldier, right? He is the um a colonel in the Iranian Air Force, okay? His name is out there, his face is out there. He is in uniform, and he will about to, we'll listen to what he has to say, but here he is defecting, right? So he's defecting from the Islamic regime, and he is openly swearing his allegiance to the Shah of Iran, as you can see symbolized by the constitutional monarchy crest in front of him, with the crown of the Shah of Iran in the center there. So this is incredibly good news. I have been monitoring, things coming out of Iran for the last, I don't know how many decades. I have never seen anything like this, guys. I have never seen anything like this. So this is just the first video of many, but let's go back, and now we'll listen to what Tusi has to
In
say.
the report. Okay. Iranian Air Force Colonel Ibrahim Aghai Kamazani, I think, yeah, Kamazani, has now defected publicly in a viral video pledging loyalty to Reza Pahlavi, the Crown Prince of Iran in exile, and urging mass army defections against the Islamic regime. Israeli intelligence have now also confirmed Mossad that multiple high-ranking Iranian officers have now abandoned their post in the regime, signaling deepening cracks at the top of the IRGC. We haven't heard.
I did not know that. So, guys, like I'm blind watching this because I have been busy with other things, and I'm just trying to catch up now with all the news. I did not know that Mossad has confirmed that several other high-ranking military officials have abandoned their guys. This is huge. Like, I don't know. Okay, like I don't want to be preemptive here. I don't want to be preemptive, but I'm getting goosebumps. I am getting goosebumps, guys.
Much from the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. We also have two army officers broadcasting a speech by the Crown Prince in the subway or the metro in Tehran, while bravely raising the lion and sun flag of Iran, the original flag of Iran,
That's the one behind
risking
me.
everything to send a message to the world, a powerful message that the fight back begins now. Let's go to that video from the capital. Insanity.
So again, guys, we have never seen anything like this, right? Like, um, best case scenario so far has been people who are masked, and completely unidentifiable. Guys, this is 100% legitimate. 100% legitimate. You're not seeing this in mainstream media, but these videos have been going viral amongst Iranians and on Iranian social media and in Iranian media outlets. So we've never seen anything like this. This was from 2 days ago on Wednesday. Okay. That's when this video came out. And initially, the Islamic Republic tried to claim that this is AI. That didn't work. Then the Islamic Republic said that these are Mossad agents. And then they claimed that these are not actually military people. They're fruit vendors who bought some costumes or something. However, as Tusi is about to explain to you guys now in a little bit, um, we now have their names. We now have their names and their identities are confirmed. This is, in fact, 100% legitimate. So, these are two different Iranian soldiers, by the way. These two soldiers were arrested, unfortunately. I don't know if he's going to play the video, he might, but they were arrested. We don't know where they are. Their lives are definitely in danger. I guarantee you they've been beaten and tortured because that's what the Islamic Republic does. They are vicious Islamic terrorists. But it is incredibly brave for these two soldiers to wave the lion and sun flag. Again, right? The lion and sun flag, that is the flag of pre-Islamic Iran, okay? We've never seen anything like this. What they are doing here inside occupied Iran, this is treason. This can get you killed. And so in the past, Iranians have only done this either in the privacy of their homes, and they've kept their identities confidential, or when they fly the flag outside, it's basically late at night and they do it in an isolated place. They'll hang up the flag somewhere, because of course the Islamic occupiers do not like this flag, right? Because this is the flag of Iran before the Islamic dictatorship took over, and the Islamic dictatorship does not like it whatsoever. But after 47 years, we are seeing these two soldiers in a subway station in Tehran. Tehran is the capital city of Iran. We are seeing these two Iranian soldiers who openly say that they have defected, right? So they've defected from the Islamic regime. They are waving the pre-Islamic flag of Iran, the one that's behind me, right? That's the flag that they're waving. And these two soldiers also openly declare their loyalty to His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi II, right? The current Shah of Iran in exile. These two soldiers, right, also declare their loyalty. Listen to this, guys.
It's big, it's huge. There's a lot happening behind the scenes as well. So that's the speech, that's the speaker broadcasting the speech by Reza Pahlavi. It's the first time we've seen something like this out in public.
So the person who's filming them, he's like, "Kheli del daran." He's basically saying like they're very brave. They're very brave because again, no one has seen anything like this since the Islamic regime took over. Right? This is the first time we're seeing something like this.
That's something. It's not happy. Yeah, don't mess around with the army. Seems like oh, big things are about to happen, including my cough. Now, the Iranians inside Iran are now openly chanting death to Khamenei on the street in public. Until now, it's been significant because in previous months and years, these chants have been mostly happening at nighttime. People chanting from their windows and rooftops, during the uprisings because they weren't able to do it out in public because they get shot. But considering that the Iranian regime have lost control of everything that's happening on the streets, they are now openly doing it out there. And the police you see in the video, they don't know what to do. They're just walking around. Watch this.
So I have a theory, guys. I have a theory. So you can see the police officer, okay, he's in uniform, he's on his phone, and he's just like he's walking away from the crowd. So the video is going to continue. You're going to see this large crowd of people. My understanding is that this was at an airport. So it's at an airport. So airports have a lot of security, military personnel, right? It's at an airport. People are yelling death to Khamenei. And normally you would see the police officers going to try and disperse the crowd, break them up, arrest people, whatever. But this police officer, he actually has his back turned to the crowd and he's walking away. Um, Tusi seems to think that they're just confused and they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. I have a sneaking suspicion. Now, I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that maybe these police officers aren't doing anything because they've defected. I don't know. It's it's definitely a possibility. It's not out of the realm of, probability. If they have not formally excuse me, I'm so excited. Um if they have not formally defected, they've at least checked out, right? Like this guy is like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this, right? Um, so we may be seeing evidence of these defections right before our eyes, right? Again, this police officer, watch this video. This cameraman is walking by the police officer going towards the crowd, right? The police officer is walking away from the crowd. Okay, let's go back here.
Of everything that's happening on the streets, they are now openly doing it out there. And the police you see in the video, they don't know what to do. They're just walking around. Watch this. Look at that's one police officer. They're all chanting death to Khamenei, the supreme leader. It's crazy. Things are about to change rapidly. Now,
so if you go back, you can even see this person here, right? Where was he? This guy, right? This guy in the dark green uniform with the gold seals on his arm. He's also someone who's part of the IRGC. And all these people are they're literally walking away from the crowd as the crowd is chanting Magbar Khamenei, which means death to Khamenei, right? Usually, well, first of all, no one chants, no one usually dares to yell death to Khamenei in public like this because whenever they do, they get shot, right? People usually do it at night, from the rooftops, or in a way that they can't be identified. So they're doing it in public, and usually what would happen is you would see the security forces go after them, surround them, arrest them, take them away. But these police officers are literally turning their backs and just walking away. Let's go back, watch this video again.
It's out there, and the police you see in the video, they don't know what to do. They're just walking around. Watch this. Look at that's one police officer. They're all chanting death to Khamenei, the supreme leader. It's crazy. Things are about to change rapidly. Now, in terms of the situation with the army officials, there are some updates that we can bring you guys. Yeah. Okay, so one of them has been identified as Ibrahim Aghai Kazami and Lieutenant Mohammad Reza Mohammadzadeh. Both served at the Parandak Air Defense Base and were residents of the Mehrabad military complex. The two officers said farewell to their friends and family the previous day, stating that they plan to undertake a major operation. Asked fellow military personnel to remain loyal to His Majesty the King in exile, Reza Pahlavi, the national leader, and of course, Iran's Lion and Sun flag. Now, Parandak Air Force Group 99 is an Iranian air defense unit within the Army's ground forces and operates under the Khatam al-Anbiya Air Defense Headquarters, which is considered one of the Iranian regime's most strategic military commands. Is a major point. And the unit is responsible for managing the low altitude protection for the 5 nuclear facilities. So it's a major location for this, but we can actually show you the next video.
So these are the two soldiers. He just gave their names, right? These are the two that were arrested.
Yeah, all cities rise up, they are saying. Isfahan, Kermanshah, people, it's time to rise up. People are cheering for them. Of course, the regime officials are there to fight back, trying to take them. And people are showing support to their army generals. Look at that. They're taking them. The thing is, they're not dealing with ordinary people anymore. These are professionally trained military personnel. So some of these guys who have defected, it's interesting because they are professionally trained and they know what they're doing. Some of them who have already announced their defections over the last few days, they are still out there because they know how to defend themselves. The regime are not able to find them and they're not able to just easily arrest them. There was a video announcement from the Iranian military about upcoming events because things are about to change. This one has English subtitles. Let's go.
درود بر شما هموطنان عزیز. سرهنگ آزاده هستم. سرباز شما.
They've also been burning the Quran, by the way, the Iranians.
سرباز پرچم شیر و خورشید. در روزهای آینده بیشتر با هم صحبت خواهیم کرد و بیشتر با هم کار خواهیم داشت.
There we go.
اتفاقات بزرگی در
Wow. Okay, guys. So, I mean, if you're not following along in the subcaptions and reading this, you need to. Okay, he's saying that I will have upcoming messages for you in the in the upcoming days. I will have more messages for you.
صحبت خواهیم کرد و بیشتر با هم کار خواهیم داشت.
There we go.
اتفاقات بزرگی در راهه و
Great events are coming.
به زودی تومار دروغ، فریبکاری و اشغالگری رو در هم خواهیم پیچید.
Oh yes, the occupation, the Islamic occupation, it's a time to end.
Right? So for all of you, all the people who are wondering why we're calling it occupied Iran, because Iran has been occupied by an Islamic dictatorship for the last 47 years. It's not something that, those of us who are outside are saying. Even Iranians in occupied Iran, right, are talking about the Islamic occupation.
Now, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on the streets, they have been successful in the oppression of ordinary people, innocent people.
Okay, he went over that message too quickly. I want to go back and I guys, like, if you didn't catch this the first time, read the subtitles here. Read the subtitles.
Because things are about to change. This one has the English subtitles. Let's go.
درود بر شما هموطنان عزیز. سرهنگ آزاده هستم. سرباز شما.
They've also been burning the Quran, by the way, the Iranians.
سرباز پرچم شیر و خورشید.
So when he says he's a soldier of the Lion and Sun flag, right? So he's basically saying, I have defected. I'm not a soldier of the Islamic Republic. I don't believe in the Ayatollah, Islamic flag, right? He is a soldier of this flag. So he is again declaring that he has defected from the Islamic regime. He is now on the side of the people, okay? And he's given his name, he's given his rank, right? He's putting himself out there, guys. And he is in full uniform. Again, we have not seen images like this coming out of Iran ever, and yet in the last few days it almost seems like there's been a snowball effect and we're starting to see more and more.
در روزهای آینده بیشتر با هم صحبت خواهیم کرد و بیشتر
So in the coming days we will speak more together and we'll work more
با هم کار
together.
خواهیم داشت.
There we go.
اتفاقات بزرگی در راهه و
Great events.
Great events are on the way, and soon we will
به
unravel
زودی
the
تومار
web
دروغ،
of lies,
فریبکاری و
deceit,
اشغالگری
and
رو در
occupation.
هم
Right? So when he's saying we will soon unravel the web of the occupation, he is referring to the Islamic occupation, right? The Islamic occupation of Iran.
خواهیم پیشید.
Oh yes, the occupation, the Islamic occupation, it's a time to end it. Now, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on the streets, they have been successful in the oppression of ordinary people, innocent people, including the younger generation, Generation Z, who have been fighting back. Unfortunately, we do have some bad news on that front. When they're dealing with these guys, it's not easy because these guys know what they're doing. But ordinary people, including, unfortunately, this young girl who's only 17 years old, 17, 18, has been arrested now. She's a student activist. Her name is Bita in Shahin Shah near Esfahan. They've taken her to an undisclosed location only 3 days after arresting her mother, Mariam Abbasi Niku. And the Bita became famous after protesting against the regime's attacks on schoolgirls and declaring her support for Reza Pahlavi, the Crown Prince. She also made this song and basically did a video and sang to show support. Watch this.
Oh, that's my video! Guys, that's literally my video on my X account. Oh, I'm so glad Mayor Tusa used my video. See, guys, like, this is how we get news out there, right? Because we Iranians, we cannot rely on first of all, we can't rely on like the media outlets coming out of the Islamic Republic because they're all controlled by the Islamic dictatorship, right? So everything is propaganda, mouthpiece, whatever the case may be. So the way that we get the word out there is through citizen journalism, is through relying on each other's videos. And so, we are constantly, supporting each other, getting the word out there, sharing videos, retweeting, posting, because we Iranians have to be our own journalists, right? Because if we don't speak out, no one would ever know the truth about what's happening in occupied Iran. And you can also see in this video, so that picture behind her, that is Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, as we call him, Shahanshah Aryamer. He is the previous Shah of Iran. We love him. And as you can tell, even this, she's 19, so this 19-year-old Iranian girl, Gen Z, she is a big supporter of the previous Shah of Iran. She's a big supporter of the current Shah of Iran. And just like 25-year-old Omid Sarlak, she has been captured because the Islamic Republic views anyone who supports the Shah as a threat, because the Islamic Republic knows that the only person who is strong enough and capable enough to overthrow them and free the country is the Shah of Iran. He has the vast majority of support from Iranians inside of Iran and outside of Iran as well. But do not be fooled by the propaganda and the disinformation coming from the gatekeepers, right? Guys, I'm telling you, at least 80%, if not like 85% of Iranian people support the Shah and want him to return. Okay? This 19-year-old girl in Iran has been arrested by the Islamic dictatorship, right? Because they are afraid of her They are afraid of her message. They are afraid of the fact that she supports the Shah of Iran, right? There's a reason that the Islamic dictatorship comes after us constitutional monarchists because we pose a very real and legitimate threat to them.
از در پر بغض گلوم بابا اگه رفتم بدون همه اینا واسه آینده بود بدون همه آرزوم اینه ببینم ایران و آزاد یه روز.
Unfortunately, we don't know where she is. Now, the media refuse to show the truth about what's happening in Iran. Of course, we have a lot of examples, especially in recent months, including the Iranians' views on so-called Palestine, while the Islamic occupation want you to think that, of course, the Iranians are on the sides of the Palestinian nonsense. This is the truth about Iran. Death to Palestine, they say. This is the truth.
Guys, it's really interesting because when I try to explain things in English, like when I try to share things about Iran and Iranians in English, people are like, like the Palestinians or like the jihadis are like, oh, you're so Islamophobic. And I think to myself, I'm like, you think I'm Islamophobic? You have no idea what people in Iran are like. I'm literally like holding myself back right now. Like I am being, I'm holding myself back because this is what people in Iran think about the fake Palestinian cause, right? Like zero sympathy, zero support for a bunch of Islamic jihadi terrorists, right?
Of course, there's been a lot of campaigns in Iran, and not just in terms of burning the Palestinian flags, but also burning the Quran, and a number of mosques have been targeted. Iranians have also targeted some of the ayatollahs and the clerics and all the others in the country. The message is quite clear that people are sick and tired of the Islamic occupation, and they simply want their country back, they want democracy back, and they want their nationalism back. Now, this military general I'm about to show you says that I am not scared of prison, I'm not scared of death, I will never leave my country, Iran, and I will stand with my people to my last drop of blood. Let's go.
خب اولا به من گفتن که رد تلفن همراه تو زدیم. خب من خواستم بهش بگم که اصلا نیازی نبود شما رد تلفن همراه منو بزنید. به من زنگ میزدید، من شماره تلفنم رو، آدرسم رو، تمام مشخصاتم رو اولا که دارید، بعد بهتونم میدادم. من جایی نمیرم، اینجا وطنمه، اینجا کشورمه و تا آخرین قطره خونم پای مردمم می ایستم و از حقوق خودم و خانوادم دفاع خواهم کرد. یک ارتشی با شرافت و واقعی وقتی میگه خانوادم، فقط منظورش زن و بچه خودش نیست. تمام ملت و تمام مردم ایران خانواده اون محسوب میشن و از حقوقشون وظیفه داره تا پای جون دفاع کنه. من هم از این قاعده مستثنا نخواهم بود و به عنوان یک ارتشی وفادار به ملتم و کشورم از حقوق تمام مردم ایران تا پای جونم دفاع خواهم کرد. حقوق من و خانواده من رو پایمال کردن. همه اینها رو از حلقومتون بیرون خواهم کشید. حقوق بسیار از مردم ایران رو هم پایمال کردید. اینها رو از حلقوم شما هم بیرون خواهم کشید. من از مرگ نخواهم ترسید، از زندان هم نخواهم ترسید و مطمئن باشید تا آخرین قطره خون جلوی شما خواهم ایستاد و کشورم رو نجات خواهم داد از این وضعیت.
Yeah. Now, the latest updates that we have from the country is that the IRGC's obviously corruption has fueled nationwide protests and strikes. Thousands have rallied in dozens of cities, especially since the 9th of November, which is over the last 5 days, against the plundering by the regime and the foundations of it, of course, exposing the mullahs' economic chaos and the, of course, bankruptcy of the economy. Water and gas crises continue. Unfortunately, Tehran, the capital, is facing unprecedented shortages of both water and gas, which is obviously causing more fears of mass instability as the regime's mismanagement is now leaving millions without basic resources. So it just proves that, of course, the Ayatollahs don't really care. Economic protests, of course, continue as well. Widespread demonstrations over the hardship, and of course a number of students who have now been arrested again, especially since 2 days ago, the 12th of November. One of them was hit in a hospital in Mashhad and also on the streets of Ahvaz, another city in the south. So the fight back obviously continues, and with limited support and resources, the only thing they have is the Crown Prince of Iran, and they are simply asking for Reza Pahlavi and his team to go and finish the job with the help of course, the military inside the country.
Guys, so it's more than just a regular water shortage. Guys, the water shortage is so bad that like it was on Iranian news where there's someone named Dr. Kaveh Madani. I guess he's Iranian. He's the head of the United Nations University Institute for Water, Environment and Health. Just 5 hours ago, a news report came out that Tehran's the capital of Iran, is rapidly approaching what he calls day zero, with major reservoirs hitting dead storage and groundwater collapsing. So Tehran, guys, Tehran is days, possibly hours away from literally drying up completely.
Country. So it seems like over the next few days, weeks and months, we're going to see major developments in regards to what could happen in the country, so Iranians could take back control of the country and go back to normal, how things were, because clearly there's no vacuum of power. We know exactly what the alternative is, unlike some other messed up countries. Now, Ivan says if they are doing it in public, the end game must be close. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. So only a few months ago, we heard about 30,000 defections, roughly, from the.
It's more than that. It's more than 30,000. It's somewhere between, well, the last time we heard confirmed 100% was 50, but my understanding is that number is closer to 100,000 defections now.
Iranian military, but they did it secretly. They basically got in touch with the Crown Prince. Now we are seeing it happening more publicly. They're slowly, basically, clearly there's been a plan, and the plan is now being conducted. Truth says if the IRGC falls, the already invaded West falls. How does that work? Yeah, I'm not really sure if that's even connected. Then it's not. Rubate says, will the mainstream media support the attempt to change? No, they won't. Of course not. The Western side are not going to be in favor of regime change in Iran as usual. They would rather the IRGC stays in place, especially Britain, especially the Foreign Office and the palace in London. They of course they will prefer the IRGC to stay in Iran for obvious reasons. Someone says, you haven't learned anything from Libya and Syria? What's that got to do with anything? If the people...
The biggest, like, oh my gosh, it's always annoying when non-Iranians are like, you haven't learned anything from Libya and Syria. Like, they basically try to Iran-splain our country to us. Guys, Iran has been a proper country for thousands of years. Iran is actually the oldest country in the world. Unlike Libya and Syria, right, they weren't carved out after World War II. Iran is a proper country with a proper identity that is currently under an Islamic occupation.
People don't want a regime change. They do. That's the point. 90%, 95% of Iran. I know it's a small group, 90%, 95%, but yeah. Any alien-made coups will bring states like Afghanistan. So this is the thing. When you learn your history from the mainstream media and your teachers, so that's not how it works. Libya and Syria, because people in the West think, well, that person looks a little bit brown, and that one is also brown, so that means that's the same thing. No, the situation in Iran is more like Korea and Germany, rather than, or even Poland, for example.
That is a very, very good point, right? Like, people compare the situation in Iran to Libya or like Syria or Afghanistan. It's not. He's absolutely correct. The situation in occupied Iran is similar to Poland or Korea, right? That's 100% the proper way to think about what is happening in Iran and what the day after is going to look like. Like, stop comparing Iran to Libya, start comparing it to like Poland when it comes to the concept of revolution and regime change.
Compared to Syria and Libya. The difference is Syria, Iraq, Libya, these places didn't have the heritage, didn't have the culture, the political culture. So they didn't even know what democracy was.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, even in Iraq, didn't really have any appetite to get rid of Saddam. It was basically the Western forces going to liberate Iraq. Obviously, for strategic reasons and oil and everything else happened, that backfired. And they said, here's some democracy. Well, they didn't know what to do with it. And you had corruption after corruption. And also there was a vacuum of power in Syria. That's why Assad won until a few months ago. And also in terms of Libya, you can see the mess in Libya. The similarities between Poland, Germany, Korea, as in the Republic of Korea, the actual Korea, and Iran is that these places, especially Iran, they had democracy before. They had parliamentary democracy, they had their constitution, they had their freedoms, and there is no vacuum of power. It's not, and there's no militant official like militias anywhere.
Yeah, people, all these people who try to compare Iran to like Libya or Syria or like Iraq or whatever, they don't know anything about Iranian history. They think that Iran somehow like just started existing either in 1979 or 1953. They never go farther back than 1953. If you do not know about the Persian Constitutional Revolution of 1906, you are not qualified to speak on Iran or Iranian history. Now, for those of you who have been following my channel for a while and have, joined me and, the mods and, other Iranians for our evening live streams where we watch documentaries about Iran, congratulations. You guys are 99.9%, you guys are ahead of 99.9% of everyone else, right? Because you guys know about the Persian Constitutional Revolution. We went over that a whole documentary. It's on my YouTube channel, right? You guys, if you haven't seen it, you can go find it there. But those of you who are familiar with the Persian constitutional monarchy of 1906 know full well that Iran was a constitutional monarchy prior to 1979, and therefore there is no power vacuum, right? Because we have that established democratic system already in place, and you guys are not going to fall for this whole, narrative of we don't want another Iraq, because you guys know Iran was never like that. Iran is like that right now, but once Iran is freed, we have that democratic culture that we've had for quite a long time that we're striving to go back to. Jane, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. I hope you are enjoying the live stream. Stick around because tonight is a very exciting episode. Usually I do, usually I do documentaries. We'll watch documentary, but given all the breaking news coming out of Iran, I don't know. I don't know if I could do a documentary right now. But it's exciting times, exciting times. Thank you for the support, Jane.
There's no extremists in Iran. The alternative is people taking back control of the country, and they already know what they want. They want to go back to having a Persian constitution for all of the Iranians. Whether it's going to be a parliamentary democracy, whether it's going to be a modern republic, whatever they want to do, they can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to go back necessarily to constitutional monarchy. Of course, a lot of us believe that that's the best model, but it's up to the Iranian people. The plan they have is to have a referendum. Simple. Like normal people. They're going to have a referendum because they've done democracy before, they're used to it, and they can pick whatever model that they want. All we know they want democracy again, they want freedom again, and they want to go back to secularism. Simple. The separation of church and state. Even though the West and the Western globalists are against this revolution, they prefer the Islamic Republic to stay in Iran because they're getting everything from it. They are getting the oil from Iran through UAE and the third parties cheap. It's in the interest of the Western side, especially Britain, for the Iranian regime to stay in place. That's why they've always, even Obama and all the others, have stopped. Every time there was an opportunity for Iranians to take back control of the country, they stopped it. They were like, no, we can't let this happen. We can't allow Iran to become strong and independent again. They would rather have a weak enemy in Iran than a strong equal partner. That was the problem they had with the Shah in the 1970s, because the Shah didn't want to be a puppet. They said, well, we could be allies. That's it. And they said, yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
That's a really important point as well, right? Like all these people who try to like attack the Shah, they're like, the Shah wasn't a puppet of the West. No, the Shah actually was not a puppet of the West. The Shah was independent. The Shah was in control. The Shah was in power. That's why the West helped the Islamists overthrow him, guys, right? Right? Why do you think Jimmy Carter supported the Islamic dictatorship? Why do you think France, held the Islamists in exile and gave them refuge? Right? Use your critical thinking skills. If the Shah was a puppet of the West, why would the West have helped to overthrow him? Right? It does not make sense. The Shah was never a puppet of the West. That's why they overthrew him.
Sarah says, as an Iranian, I agree that part of the Iranian military and intelligence service members don't support the Islamic Republic anymore. And even their reaction inside the streets is close to the Iranian protesters. That's the thing. So there are two major groups that you can see why the change is happening. One is the military itself, because the overall military is technically separate to the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, which is technically in charge. But you have the military, which is the army and navy and everything, air force for the people. They have to technically follow the supreme leader. Technically, they have to. But everybody basically serves. All the young men serve. And so a lot of ordinary people, especially the last 10 years, they decided to actually join very patiently, very quietly to stay in there. Before, people, especially the first 20, 30 years, people were like, okay, I can't even be part of the military of my own country because that means I will be part of the regime. So almost everybody at the time who were part of the military were supporters of their supreme leader. But things started to change. Whoever was behind this plan, whether it was the Crown Prince's team or anybody, people started to join the military, not the IRGC, but the military, just in case when the time comes. But that's one thing that you can see that's already changed. The second thing is the people at the bottom of society, especially those who are more religious. And those guys, by default, were supporters of the regime because the propaganda worked. A lot of people in smaller towns and cities, they were poorer, they go to the religious nonsense. And by default, because they were told that, well, the Jews are evil, America is evil, everybody is evil, and the Islamic Republic is the only way, right? They've also lost the support of those guys because they might be religious, but even Iranian Muslims who are basically, by the way, there's about 30% of the country who are practicing Muslims.
Right, guys, I said this earlier today, only 30% of the Iranian population identifies as Muslim. I would think it's probably even less than that. I guarantee you, like half of that 30%, just say it for the sake of saying it. But yeah, like less than 30% of Iranians are actually Muslim.
Which is a minority, obviously. They're not really fanatics anyway. They're not like the Arabs. That's the one thing that's obvious. Secondly, the economic crisis on those guys, and they have started to wake up. They're looking at their own regime and saying, well, you've been telling us for decades that the only option is the Islamic Republic. Everybody else is the enemy. Well, it seems like you're the only one who is damaging my life every single day. So they've also lost the support of ordinary, kind of more working class, religious types of people. And it's those guys who've been rising up. Because what we've seen in Iran since 1979, there's been every 10 years, there's been some wave. So first it was the late 80s after the Iraq War. And that was mostly done by the Mujahideen. They were the Islamic communist, Marxist weirdos. But there were a lot of people who supported them. Not normal people, but they had a lot of supporters. They got massacred. And a lot of other ordinary people were also killed. So there was an attempt for some sort of uprising. They all got killed. Done. 10 years later, roughly, about 98, there was the student uprising. They started with a couple of newspapers that were shut down, free speech. And students, who were mostly middle-class, educated people, they started protesting and they got killed. And everyone went home, okay. 10 years later, 2009, there was the rigged election with Ahmadinejad. The Green Movement, the Green Revolution started. Again, mostly by people in big cities, the middle-class, educated ones saying, we want our vote back.
Okay, I just want to point something out here, guys. So a lot of you guys are saying, Iran has the second largest population of Jewish people in the Middle East outside of Israel. Yes, that's true, but that's not because of the Islamic Republic. That's despite the Islamic Republic. Guys, before 1979, when Iran was a normal country, there were over 100,000 Jews who lived in Iran. Why? Because aside from Israel, Iran was the only other country in the Middle East where Jews could live freely without persecution, right? That was Iran. So over 100,000 Jews lived in a free Iran prior to 1979. When the Islamic Republic came to power and brought their jihadi Islamic ideology with them, the population of Jews went down from 100,000, over 100,000. Now it's less than 10,000, okay? Less than 10,000 Jews still live in Iran today under that Islamic occupation. So, people who put out this like Iran is the second largest number of Jews, right? It's not because of the Islamic dictatorship, it's despite the Islamic dictatorship. And by the way, that number has decreased drastically. And you also need to ask yourselves, okay, how is it that less than 10,000 Jews still live in Iran, and yet that's the highest population in the Middle East outside of Israel? So you're telling me every single other Middle Eastern country aside from Israel has less than 10,000 Jews. Some of them have even zero, guys, zero. Do you see the pattern here? Do you see the Islamic jihadi pattern, right? So when you throw out these random facts about Iran or about occupied Iran, if you don't have the context behind it, right, the facts you throw out lose all meaning. So again, less than 10,000 Jews remain in Iran today, when prior to 1979, there was over 100,000. Think about that. Alex, new to your channel, thank you for streaming to see. Hello from Soviet Union Jew and communism survivor. Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Islamic dictatorship, I mean, they call themselves a republic, but I mean, they're basically like it's a dictatorship that's based on like communist principles, right? Like the Islamic regime, very, very close ties to the Soviets. In fact, many of the people who were involved in the 1979 Islamic coup d'etat were in fact trained and funded by the Soviets. And there's a reason why the Islamic dictatorship is, of course, closely allied with the Soviets. But welcome to the channel. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. This is a pro-Zionist, pro-Israel, pro-Jew channel. We love Israel. We love Jews. I'm Israel. Hi. And Shabbat Shalom as well.
Reformists, and they all got killed and arrested. Everybody went home. 10 years later, around 2018, 2019, it started again. And that was the beginning of the end. Because that was essentially a cost of living crisis uprising. It was because of the economics and corruption. It was ordinary people, not just the middle classes in Tehran or the educated or the academics. No. You had the poor, you had the rich, everybody in all towns and villages. Started then COVID happened, lockdown, there was a bit of a pause. Then 2021, 2022, things started kicking off again. Mahsa Amini, the girl who was killed by the morality police, sparked it. 2022, 2023, protest. And then, of course, it's been happening since then. then the movement in favor of the Reza Pahlavi side started to escalate massively. If you're spamming the live chat, you're going to get banned. We have a free speech live chat. We don't do moderators. But if you copy and paste the same comment,
He has more patience than me. My live streams, like, you guys spam, you're out. If you say stupid nonsense, ban. He has way more patience than me on that.
like an absolute nutter, even if you say nice things about me, you will be banned. And I'm looking at you. There's an account called Gilmore. If you keep copy and pasting, you will be banned. Just a heads up. All right. Blue Sapphire says, Massa Amini was the beginning of a certain end. What followed is the downfall of, the rest of the sentence is gone. Yes, so it showed the difference between all the other times I mentioned. Late 80s, late 90s, late 2000s, what happened in the 2010s, and now, and since then, obviously, you saw the massive shift. And it was no longer just those who wanted democracy. The people are sick and tired. People in the military, people in the working class areas, towns, villages, and that is not stopping. The girls dancing on social media, but people don't care anymore. Like they've completely lost patience with all this nonsense. Now, Bronx says the South African ANC regime are losing their funding from Iran for the ICC case against Israel. Well done for the Iranian people taking a stand. Pray for them. So yes, both South Africa and Brazil and Venezuela are in major crisis right now, especially for Lula's regime in Brazil. But Maduro is gone. This is the end for Maduro. Those three countries, who happen to also be very anti-Semitic, oh, what are the odds? The funding and the support they've been getting from the Islamic Republic, or as they want to call it, the Islamic Empire, the Islamic Caliphate. Imagine an Islamic Caliphate led by the Shias. Literally no one cares. Like the whole point of the concept of Shia, the Caliphate in Islam, was done by the Sunnis from day one. The moment Muhammad died, it was the Sunnis, who are the majority of Muslims. They were the ones in favor of essentially saying the leaders of the leaders of the leaders, who are basically warlords. I'm now in charge, Abu Bakr. And Shias were just a bunch of crybabies saying, but no, Muhammad died, it was supposed to be Ali. Oh no, it was supposed to be his son, his brother. Like some sort of bloodline monarchy nonsense, royal family. And while the Sunnis were busy building their empire, the caliphate and everything else, and of course led to the Ottoman Empire, but the Shias were never good at any of this. And now the IRGC, since Khomeini, they were like, well, we are going to build the Islamic Empire led by the Shias. And like, good luck convincing the Sunnis to back you, which is the majority of the Islamic world. Nobody cares. So that's why they've been going to South America and the rest of the parts of North Africa to try to support them. Of course, they haven't been able to get North Africa because of the Muslim Brotherhood, because they had their domination. Anyway, another comment says, did you hear about the critical water shortage in Iran, Maya? Yes, as we reported on this live stream, and also the last few months. I just read an article in the newspaper over here in the Netherlands. Yeah, so that's been happening for some time now. In fact, the spark was actually in 2019 when Netanyahu in Israel actually sent a proposal to Iran saying Israel could come and help you to build the infrastructure for the water. And of course, the Islamic Republic says, go away, we don't trust the Jews. But things got worse and worse, and over the last few months, especially since the 12-day war ended, things have been getting much worse with shortages. Even electricity and everything else, gas just goes out for hours and hours every day in major cities. Forget about villages and smaller towns, they're done. Thank you, Julie. What is this? Someone responded to someone else, Bobak, saying that is actually true, but it doesn't mean that they are puppets of Iraq. Iraq never had influence over the. Ooh, who's the puppet of Iraq? Let me go back to Bobak. Can I find that person? What? I need context to these messages, by the way. This one, right? They messed up the Ayatollahs. They are mostly for the Ayatollahs. Yeah, so most of the connection of the Ayatollahs in Iran. The background and the ethnicities of the people in charge of Iran are from countries.
I think Oh yeah.
Just like Iraq, a couple of them are from Syria.
Guys, so this is what we mean. This is what we mean when we say the Islamic dictatorship is like an outside occupying force. Most of them are not even Iranian, right? They're from like other countries, as he's about to explain. Like they're from Iraq, Syria, some are from Pakistan, like some are from India, some are from
Well, when I say
Lebanon.
a couple of them, I mean a couple of families, because they all like to marry their cousins. And so we got
Yeah, a lot of
Iraqis
interbreeding.
at part of the IRGC, and a number of them from Afghanistan, and a couple of them from Kuwait, and a number of other Arab countries. But yes, big chunk of them are Iraqis. Basically, their background, their ethnicities are Iraqi. That's why they also look different compared to the ordinary Iranians. You can see their faces; they still slightly have different features. So that's why people call it the Islamic occupation of
Yep.
Iran. Now,
Oh, we have a starred message from Tony. Islam has been so destructive throughout our history. It was the inspiration for the Nazis, Marxism, communism, and others. Now the West is allowing this political cult to infest it. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. In fact, it was the Grand Mufti, right? Like this Muslim dude living in the Israel area, what is now called Israel. It was the Grand Mufti who actually met with Hitler and gave Hitler the idea for the Holocaust, right? Even the Holocaust itself came from the Grand Mufti, which is like this Muslim guy, and now those same people are engaging in Holocaust denial, right? It's just the jihadis are it's a sick mentality, and it's destroyed many countries, many regions. I mean, it's um destroyed Iran. But guys, like Iran is in the process of decolonization right now. And when I tell you that once Iran is free from the Islamic dictatorship, um like it's gonna be over. It's gonna be like guys, the Islamic Republic is done in Iran. Islam is dead in Iran. I shared this article earlier today in my live stream earlier today, but I want to share this with you guys again, okay? Because this is important. This is very, very important, guys. Um, look at this headline. Look at this headline, guys. Senior cleric claims religion, which he means Islam, religion in Iran weak, 50,000 mosques closed. Okay. This article is from 2023. So 2 years ago, the Islamic regime themselves admitted that Islam is weak in Iran. And out of the 75,000 mosques that are in the country, 50,000 of them are closed. Okay. That's not coming from me. That's not coming from external sources. That's coming from this um, Islamic regime cleric here. His name is Muhammad Abul Qasim Dulabi, right? I don't know, like, چه اسمی داره? Oh my gosh. Muhammad Abul Qasim Dulabi. He is the special representative in clerical affairs. I don't know, whatever that means. I guess I don't know what like imams do in their spare time or something. I have no idea. But he is the special representative for that. And so this guy who is literally part of the Islamic Republic, he admitted 2 years ago that 50,000 of Iran's 75,000 mosques are closed, showing the declining numbers of Iranians attending. Guys, Islam is dead in Iran. Islam is dead. There's a reason why all these extremists are coming to your countries in the West, right? Because you guys are just welcoming them in with open arms, talking about the joys of multiculturalism and diversity, right? Take it. Take all of the multiculturalism and diversity. We don't want it. We've dealt with multiculturalism and diversity for the last 47 years. Um, we don't want it. Take it. Take it all. But just remember, guys, in your countries, mosques are popping up like weeds everywhere. In Iran, they're closing down, right? They're shutting down because people are not going to mosques, right? Iran is occupied by an Islamic dictatorship, and they can't even keep their own mosques open because Iranians are not attending, right? Think about that. This is what we mean when we say that Iran is under an occupation. This is what we mean when we talk about how we are being occupied by a foreign power, right? 50,000 mosques that we know of have been shut down. I guarantee you the number is much higher than that now because this article is from 2 years ago. So once you understand this, right? Like, guys, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more news about Iran in the next 2 days, possibly in the next few weeks, as things escalate. You guys already have the advantage because you're here, you're on this live stream, you're watching this, you might be following me on X or on social media. Um, in order to properly understand what's happening in Iran, you have to come to terms with two things. First is that Iran is not an Islamic country, okay? Less than 30% of Iranians are Muslim, and even those people, like, they're not, fanatic Muslims. They're not like the jihadi Palestinian Muslims, right? Like they're not like that. Um and even Iranian Muslims are against the Islamic dictatorship, right? Because they're normal. And the Islamic dictatorship is not. So that's the first thing. So Iran is not an Islamic country. Okay, we Iranians, um, our identity, our history, our culture, our heritage, our language, guys, even the foods that we eat are thousands of years older than Islam, right? And then, like, before Islam was invented. Like korma sabzi, one of our national dishes, korma sabzi. Um, some historians say that korma sabzi is like 5,000 years old. Okay, so Iranians were eating korma sabzi for like over 3,000 years before Islam was invented, right? Like this is how old our Iranian identity is. We were the first multicultural society. Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire, he actually mandated freedom of religion, and that is why, for us Iranians, we're incredibly diverse when it comes to religion. We have, Iranian Muslims now. We do Iranian Christians, Iranian Jews, Iranian Zoroastrians, Iranian Baha'i, Iranian Buddhists, Iranian agnostic, atheists, whatever you can think of, we have it because we have always been a very diverse society, and that diversity is inherent to our Iranian identity. And that diversity, religious diversity, is something that was enshrined within the Persian Empire, right, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. So that's the first thing. Iran is not an Islamic country. Um, the second thing you have to know is that Iranians want their Shah back. Everything that you think you know about the Shah, unless you've been watching my channel, of course, and you've been following along on all of the documentaries, um, everything you think you know about the Shah because you've read something in mainstream media or you've looked it up on, like, Chat GPT or whatever the case might be, everything you think you know is wrong. You just have to accept the fact that the Shah of Iran has over 80% support. Some reports say it's closer to 90%, but he has minimum 80% support of the Iranian people. Okay? If you accept these two facts, then in the coming days and weeks, you will be ahead of the game when it comes to the news coming out of occupied Iran. You will be able to understand why things are happening in Iran the way they are. Okay? You will be able to um, dissect it and explain it in a way that, the media, or all of propaganda mouths for the Islamic Republic will not be able to, right? Because this is the first thing. So when it comes to Iran not being an Islamic country, this is the article, right? Anyone can find this article. It's easily available online. Oh, Adam just said, "See, guys, this is what I mean." Okay, usually I will play starred message. Usually I only show starred messages, but this is a good learning lesson for all of you. Adam and other people. So Adam says, "I just checked out mosques closing, and from what I read, she is accurate. I originally thought that such a thing wasn't possible, but I stand corrected." Adam, welcome to uh welcome to the light, right? Welcome to the channel where I will share with you the truth. But I will share with you the the real truth, the unfiltered truth. I don't sugarcoat, I don't beat around the bush, and everything that I say is independently verifiable. So, welcome to the light, Adam. Glad to have you on our side here. And you know what? I'm actually glad that you went to look it up and you were able to independently verify that what I'm saying is true, right? Because again, for a lot of you who are not familiar with Iran, a lot of you who might not necessarily know about Iran, you haven't really looked into it. All you know are basically the headlines that the media feeds to you. A lot of what I say is going to sound surprising, right? A lot of what I say is going to sound surprising because this is not what you hear in the media. You're not going to get the mainstream narrative here. Here, you're going to get the truth. And so, Adam, the fact that you now know, right? Because you've independently verified it, you now know that Iran is not a Muslim country. That puts you ahead of the game, right? Now you can understand why Iranians want to overthrow the Islamic dictatorship. You understand why Iranians chant, death to Palestine, because we're not part of that Islamic ummah, right? Like, we don't want anything to do with their Islamic jihad. We don't want anything to do with their terrorism either, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing, guys, right? So Iran is not an Islamic country. And the second thing is Iranians want their Shah back. And again, I'm going to point you to this very, very important still image, right? I spoke about this earlier, but I'm going to bring it up again. Iranians want their Shah back. Every single soldier in occupied Iran that is currently defecting is defecting and pledging allegiance to the current Shah of Iran, who is in exile. And if you look at my other live streams, you will see I've spoken a lot about the Iranian Revolution, sorry, the Islamic Revolution. I've explained how that was based on fake news, right? It was based on fake news. And in fact, it wasn't even regular, normal Iranians who wanted a revolution. It was the Islamists and the communists who were backed by Jimmy Carter and, of course, France and the Soviets as well. The Soviets were definitely involved in that. If you want, guys, if you want to learn more about the Iranian, about the history of Iran, um, this is the documentary that you should watch. Okay. Where is it? Let me come here. So let me just pull this up. Wait, how do I remove this? Remove. Add. Okay, so when you go to my page, you want to go to Iranians rate documentaries. You want to go here, Iranians rate documentaries about Iran. You want to go to the first one here. Okay, so the first one, which is the 19. I gave it a score of 3 out of 10. But that is a 4-hour live stream, guys. So I basically it's a 1-hour documentary. It takes me 4 hours to get through it because myself and the Iranians in the live stream, okay, we go through every single piece of misinformation and we counter it with facts, with proof, with documents, right? And even that documentary about Iran, I gave it a 3 out of 10. So part of the reason that many of you have the wrong information about Iran, it's not your own fault. It's because um, you have been fed the same communist and Islamist narratives, and they have just been circulating, right? And the more a fake narrative just is repeated, the more people start to assume that it's factually correct, even though it's actually not. So, if you guys want to learn more about um, the 1979 Islamic Revolution and what happened, definitely watch that documentary. But in the coming days, guys, this is my advice to you. This is my advice to you. Accept the fact that Iran is not an Islamic country and accept the fact that Iranians want their Shah to return. Once you accept those two facts, once you accept those two facts, something like this will make a lot more sense to you, right? So this is a soldier. I explained this at the beginning of my live stream, but I'll explain it again. This is a soldier in occupied Iran. He's not only defecting from the Islamic dictatorship, but he is pledging allegiance to the Shah of Iran. And this crest in front of him, guys, again, that is the coat of arms of the Iranian constitutional monarchy. And see that crown in between the two lions? That is the crown um, of the Shah of Iran, right? So Iranians are literally defecting and pledging their allegiance to the Shah of Iran. Why? Because everything you think you know about the Shah is wrong. Everything that you have been told about the Shah by the communists and the Islamists, 100% inaccurate. You have been fed the wrong information for a very, very long time. And we have been trying to tell you the truth, right? I have been trying to tell you the truth. And thankfully, most of you believe me. Most of you, are open minded and are willing to accept the fact that maybe what you've been told in the past by others is not entirely true. Um, but yeah, there are some who will still attack me and, try to Iran explain my own country to me. But guys, I'm not here to um, justify why Iranians want their Shah back. I'm here to tell you and explain to you why Iranians want their Shah back. And if you accept my explanation, if you understand what I'm trying to say to you, that will give you the necessary context to understand why today in occupied Iran you are seeing Iranian soldiers openly defecting from the Islamic regime and openly swearing allegiance to the Shah of Iran. Okay? Um, Tony, thanks for expanding on the Islamic occultic ideology with facts. Make Persia the new name again for the country. Iran, in my thoughts, stand for Islamic Republican Arab Nation. Tony, thank you for the kind words, but I just want to say that that's actually one of the biggest misperceptions about Iran. Um, the name Iran and the word Iran is thousands and thousands of years old. So our country was called Iran Shah um, thousands of years before Islam was invented. Persia is actually the Greek word for Iran. So we've like in our own language because we speak Farsi. In English it's Persian, so we speak Persian. In our own language, we've never called our country Persia. We've never referred to ourselves as like Persian. Like there's not even a word for Persia in our own language because it is a Greek word. So it's very similar to like take Germany for example, okay? In English, we call the country Germany, but in their own language, it's Deutschland, right? And it's the same thing with the language. In English, we say German, but in German they say Deutsch, right? So that's what it is with Persia. Persia is the Greek word for Iran. So the only reason that you are associating Iran with the Islamic Republic is because the Islamic Republic wants you to think that we're one and the same, right? They want you to think that we're the same because that's one of the ways that they have held Iranians hostage for the last 47 years. But prior to 1979, the name of our country was Iran. When the Islamic dictatorship occupied us, they actually changed the name of our country from Iran to the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? So it's not, like the country isn't Iran, it's Islamic Republic of Iran. So we are Iranians. We are fighting for a free Iran, and Iran it's our identity. It's our identity, and we will definitely counter that disinformation. But I do appreciate your support. I do appreciate the kind words. um I mean, if you want to say Persia, you can. It can actually be used interchangeably, but the official name of the country is Iran, and as soon as our country is free, we're going to reclaim not only our flag, we're going to get rid of like that Allahu Akbar flag that they have. We're going to replace it with our real flag, which is the lion and sun. But we're also going to reclaim the name of our country. No longer will it be called the Islamic Republic, it will be called Iran, which is what we have called ourselves for thousands and thousands of years, well before Islam was invented. And we will be calling ourselves Iran and Iranians. Um, Thousands of years after Islam has been evicted from our country once and for all. All right, guys, thank you everyone for joining for this, emergency broadcast live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a lot going on here. So make sure you're following me on X. On X, I have all the live updates there. The links to my social media channels are in my YouTube live stream. Guys, I'm just like I have goosebumps. I don't know. Like I'm feeling restless. I'm feeling like something is going on. Again, like this image, we have been Thank you. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying the live stream. And you know what? I just want to say a big thank you to all of you, every single non-Iranian who's here, who's, watching, who's listening, who's learning, who's asking questions, myself, the mods and, the members here, always happy to answer your questions. And, the mods are doing an amazing work, members are doing an amazing work. But yeah, like let's keep an eye on what's happening because again, like what we're seeing here, guys, I've never seen anything like this ever, ever. Like I still cannot believe that this is real. I am so excited. Um, you know, like I keep on like scrolling the media. Um, yeah, you know what? I might if there's more news and big news, I might do another live stream tomorrow evening for an hour or two just to give you guys an update. But definitely make sure you're following me on X as well because if you want the news right as it happens. Oh, okay, actually, so before I go, I will show you two other sites that you know what, I'll actually show you three accounts on X. Okay, so if you guys are using X, um, these are the accounts that you want to follow. Okay, and I'll show them to you. So, look, today's news: Iranian army officers defect, raise pre-revolutionary flag for Reza Pahlavi. Like it's even trending on X. Okay, so guys, this is the first account that you want to follow if you're on X. Okay, if you're on X and you want unfiltered, news straight out coming from Iran. This is one of the first ones you want to follow. So it's Iran News Agency Zero. Um, they tweet in Farsi, they tweet in Persian. However, X has this fantastic feature where when you click on a post, show translation, and it will translate for you. The translation is, I would say, about 95% accurate. Okay. um so if you want breaking news coming out of Iran, this is what you want. And they will also retweet other accounts who are speaking about this, right? So for example, this is the news that you don't get in the mainstream media. Now Mahir Tusi did report on this, but for example, this account says, while the regime is trying to show that these dear military personnel, were not part of them, now it has become clear that both are from Unit 99 of Air Defense Aviation. And then he gives their names, right? So the person on the left, this is Second Lieutenant Mohammad Reza Mohammadzadeh, and the right person is Colonel Aghai. According to hearsay, both their families reside in the organizational houses of Mehrabad. uh in the incident, okay, right? So there you go. There, like, again, this is not stuff that you're going to get in mainstream news, but this is where all of us Iranians, we get our news from, right? Because first of all, we can't rely on news coming out of occupied Iran. um oh, YouTube won't allow my chat, so stand by. Okay, thank you. Hopefully it's able to work. Thank you for the support. um okay, so this is the first account that you want to follow. Live Iran News Agency. The next one that you want to follow is this one. So it's called Etelaf. Okay, Etelaf right here. ETELAF 10. They also tweet in Farsi, in Persian, but again, right? Thankfully, because of technology, we have this feature where we can translate news. So, you just click on the show translation. This is key, right? So this is like this is the reason why people in Iran are defecting right now and openly declaring their allegiance, because His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi, he's the Shah of Iran in exile, right? He actually put out a message in Farsi um last yesterday. So less than 24 hours ago, he put out a message in Farsi, okay? And what he tweeted in Farsi was, to the armed forces of Iran: do not stand against the Iranian nation to preserve a regime whose collapse has begun and is inevitable. Do not sacrifice yourselves for the rotten regime. By standing with the nation, preserve your lives. Play a historical role in the transition from the Islamic Republic and share in the building of the future of Iran. So, if you are wondering why soldiers in Iran are defecting and pledging their allegiance to the Shah of Iran in exile, this is why, okay? But these are pieces of the puzzle that you will not find in the mainstream media. So, again, guys, it goes back to my 2 points. If you want to fully understand what is happening in Iran right now, if you want to understand um, the upcoming Iranian revolution, you need to understand and accept these two very important facts. Fact number one: Iran is not a Muslim country. And fact number two: Iranians want their Shah back. Once you understand these two critical elements, you will then understand why things are happening the way they are, right? But again, you're not going to get this context or analysis in the mainstream media. You're only going to get it from, from Iranian, like trusted Iranian sources. So this is the second account. Etelaf, highly recommend that you follow this account. And then the last one is Manoto News. Okay, so again, Manoto News is an Iranian um, Iran, like it's an Iranian media outlet. It is based in London. This is the most trusted media outlet that we Iranians have, and they actually have a WhatsApp Telegram phone number here because the way that Manoto receives news about Iran is people in Iran will send videos and voice messages or whatever the case might be to Manoto so that Manoto can play their messages and broadcast their videos. Okay, so you definitely want to follow Manoto News. Again, it's all in Farsi, but but right, you click on the show translation and it gives you a pretty decent translation here, right? So for example, this this just came out. When did this come out here? So this came out 7 hours ago, okay? So here's what happened 7 hours ago. On the anniversary of November 2019 uprising. So guys, one of the reasons that we think things are might get heated is because in 2019 around this time when there was an uprising in occupied Iran, because this isn't the first time, guys, that people have tried to overthrow the dictatorship, right? It's been several times that they've tried, but the last time that they tried this, one of the previous times they tried this was in 2019. And what the Islamic dictatorship did is they actually shut down the internet, and they shut down the internet for 7 days. And so for 7 days there was a blackout within the country, and they proceeded to murder, over 1,500 people. And we call that time Bloody November. So right now it's pretty much the anniversary of Bloody November. So what Manoto News here writes, on the anniversary of November 2019 uprising, Prince Reza Pahlavi published a message in which he praised the growing courage of Iranian citizens and military personnel against the Islamic Republic. In his message, Prince Pahlavi wrote, across Iran, brave citizens are tearing down the regime's wall of suffocation every day and raising higher the flag of freedom and patriotism. That's this flag here, the lion and sun flag. The raising of the national flag of the lion and sun by the emblem of Iran by military personnel who have freed their hearts from the bonds of Zahak. Zahak is another word for Khamenei. It's basically this demon in Iranian mythology. So he's like the equivalent of Satan, basically, right? So Zahak is like another way that we describe the supreme dictator of the Islamic dictatorship, right? Satan, Zahak. And joined the nation in is a clear image of the growing courage of Iranians. He considered true change to be the result of countless small but effective actions and added, from people who place hope in place of fear, awareness in place of ignorance, and solidarity in place of division, and with the weapon of light, go to battle against darkness. The prince added that Iran's future will be shaped by will and courage along with organization. In another part of the message, practical tools for organization are mentioned. The instructions of the Immortal Guard of Iran have provided Iranians inside the country with how to organize effectively. The National Cooperation Platform has paved the way for government and military forces to join, and the We Will Take Back Iran system has become the axis of convergence for Iranians abroad. This message was published on the anniversary of the November 2019 protests, during which more than 1,500 people lost their lives and thousands were arrested. Prince Pahlavi honored the memory of the victims. The memory of the immortal sons of Iran's national revolution lives on. Those who stood against the darkness and illuminated the path to freedom. At the end, he called on Iranians to raise the national flag, the lion and sun flag, everywhere to show that Iran, its heart is beating and ready to rise. So again, guys, um, if you want breaking news on Iran, this would be the third account to follow. Of course, 100%, you know, You definitely need to follow His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi. Um, if you don't have, if you don't use X, he is also on Instagram, so you can follow him on Instagram as well. I think he has like over 5 million followers on Instagram, or something. So you know, definitely you want to follow this account. Another account, guys, another account that you want to follow. This is all aside from my own because I'm assuming you're following me on X anyway. But another account that you definitely want to follow is Nufti too. Okay. Um, Nufti also provides very good information and news, and they typically will post in English. So for non-Iranians, Nufti will be a very, very good source for you to kind of know what's going on, right? So guys, I'm giving you the insider intel here, right? Like I'm telling you where to go to find news so that when things okay, so for people who don't have X but have Instagram, yeah. So Nufti is on Instagram. King Reza Pahlavi, like he's on Instagram. Monotone News is also on Instagram as well. Actually, let me pull up Instagram. Um, let me pull up Instagram here. Um, search Manoto. Here we go. So, um, so here's Manoto, right? So Manoto, they have like almost 17 million followers. But the only challenge with Manoto is that like because it's more graphic and image based, you're not gonna get like the breaking news. So that's the only challenge with Manoto. So if you want the breaking news, you definitely want X, or of course, make sure you're following me, and I will, if there's more developing news, I will definitely do another live stream tomorrow in the evening. Um Tony, may Yeshua keep you safe, bless the nation of a good people who are an inspiration to fight an evil Islamic ideology. Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you, Tony. Yeah, I mean, we Iranians have been fighting this darkness for the last 47 years. I mean, if you want to think about it, we've actually been fighting Islamic colonization for 1400 years. We have been conquered, but we've never been colonized. And what you are currently witnessing, um, guys, I don't think you know what's coming. The Islamic Republic knows what's coming, but I don't think you guys know what's coming, because when we overthrow the Islamic dictatorship, it's not just the Islamic regime we're overthrowing. Like, Islam is dead. Islam is dead and done and over with in occupied Iran. You are going to witness the single largest decolonization in the history of mankind. It will be bigger than when India decolonized from Islam. It will be even bigger than when Spain decolonized from Islam, because Iran has unfortunately been dealing with the Islamic conquest for far longer than India and Spain. And yet, Islam right now is dead in the country. And like I said, 50,000 mosques out of 75,000 have shut down. Meanwhile, they're popping up in your countries like weeds. So you guys are about, I don't know, you guys are about 50 to 100 years behind us Iranians, right? Because at a time when we are basically getting rid of Islam and Islamic ideology from our country, at a time when we are moving towards secularism, national identity, Iran first, we are going to an Iran first mentality. You guys are multiculturalism and diversity, let's bring all these random people in and let them like block our intersections and pray on the streets and yell Allahu Akbar, right? Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting times in the next few days. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that. I appreciate all your support. And if you enjoyed my live stream, please, like, subscribe, share, and, help me get the word out. Help me get the word out because if things are going as I think they are going, there's going to be so much disinformation, there's going to be so much propaganda, but you guys who are watching, you're already you're ahead of 99.9% of people out there because you have the insider knowledge, you have the insider info. You already know that Iran is not an Islamic country. You already know that Iranians want their Shah back. So as things unfold, you will actually be able to explain it to those around you who have no idea what's going on. And, they probably think that Iran is still like a Muslim country. Obviously, you guys know that's not true. So, anyways, thank you everyone for joining. I hope you have an amazing evening. And until tomorrow, Payande Iran, Javid Shah.